Hey, I got a quick question for you today. When was the last time you logged into your WordPress website? Yesterday? Last month? Or are you just hoping something breaks so you don't have to look at it? If that sounds familiar, you're not lazy and you're definitely not alone. Most small business owners ignore WordPress maintenance because the site seems fine. Updates feel risky, and honestly, you got better things to do. But here's the problem. Most hacked, broken, or slow websites were working fine yesterday. So today, I'm going to walk you through a simple WordPress maintenance checklist you can follow in minutes, not hours. So no tech jargon, no overwhelm, just what actually matters. And later on in this video, I'm going to show you how to do this on a live WordPress website. So stay tuned for that. I'm Rob McDonald, and I help small business owners like you be successful with their WordPress websites. First, let's clear something up. WordPress maintenance does not mean redesigning your site, learning code, or spending your weekends fixing plugins. Maintenance is just basic care. Think of your website like a car. You don't rebuild the engine every month, but you do change the oil, you check the tires, and make sure the brakes work. This checklist is the digital version of that. And here's the good news. You don't need to be a developer, you just need to be consistent. Let's start with the big one, updates. So updates include the WordPress core, which means, from time to time, WordPress comes out with a newer version. So that's what they mean by WordPress core. That means updating WordPress itself. Okay. The next thing it includes is plugins and also the themes. Here's the honest truth. Most security issues come from outdated plugins, not WordPress itself. So that's why it's important to update the plugins, because if you don't update them, if there's some type of security or bug fix that needs to be worked on, you need to update it. That's how they fix them. They fix them with updates. So if you log in and see update notifications piling up, that's a red flag, not a suggestion, believe me. Here's a couple of quick tips. Don't update everything right before a launch or deadline. If there are a lot of updates, do them in small batches, or even do them one at a time. And if something feels risky, just hit pause. Remember this line, because it matters. Updates aren't about new features. They're about not getting hacked. So next up is backups. Backups are your rewind button. If something breaks, gets hacked, or just disappears, backups are how you recover them without panic. Here's what actually matters. Daily backups. Weekly just isn't cutting it anymore. And they should be stored off-site, not just on the same server as your website. Because if your site goes down and your backups are on that same server, guess what? They're gone too. I've seen people lose blog posts, sales pages, even an entire business because they assume backups were probably running. And guess what? Don't ever assume that, because once you assume that, you're going to be wrong. So next up, now let's talk security. But let's talk about it calmly and coolly. You don't need Fort Knox. You just need a locked front door. The basics are simple. You need strong passwords. You need to limit login attempts, and a basic security plugin or firewall. That's it. That's all you need. Most attacks are automated bots looking for easy targets. If your site looks even slightly protected, they'll move on to some other site. Security doesn't have to be scary, it just has to exist. Next up is performance. Because a slow site doesn't just annoy people, it can cost you leads, sales, and customer trust. So once a month, ask yourself a few questions. Does my site feel slow? Have I added a bunch of plugins lately? Are my images huge? Speed isn't a nice to have. Speed is a conversion tool. If your site feels heavy or sluggish, your visitors are going to feel it too. Now this next one is quick but critical. Once a month, click on your main links. Test your contact form. Check your hours, services, and pricing. Because here's the painful truth. Nothing hurts more than missing leads you never knew about. I've seen sites where forms were broken for months, and the owner had no idea. 5 minutes of checking saves a lot of regret. So how often does this actually need to happen? Here's the realistic schedule. Weekly, you should log in, run updates, and take a quick glance around your site, looking for obvious things. So monthly, you want to do a speed check, a content review, and test your links and forms. Now, as an ongoing process, you want to do backups, and you want to make sure security is running quietly in the background. Okay, now let's see how this is being done on the live site. Okay, so now this is where I practice what I preach. So now I'm going to show you how to do this on a live site. So this is a WordPress website. This is my business website. So you know I must be confident if I'm going to do it on my live site. I'm going to go ahead and log into that. I'm already logged in. I'm going to go ahead and go up to the back end. So here we are on the back end of the website. So first thing that should catch your eye is these little red dots right here. So I've got over here on the updates menu, it's showing I have 9 updates to do. And then if you furthermore look down a little bit, you'll see down here under the plugins, I have 9 plugins. So that tells me right off the bat that this is probably just plugins that I'm going to be updating today. But if I did need to update WordPress core, then that would also be an option. So let's take a look. Let's go ahead and I like to start up here at the updates. Let's go ahead and click on the update menu. And it's going to take us to the update screen. And now you'll see that your screen's going to look a little bit different than mine because I'm going to have different plugins on here. And so some of these plugins put little boxes up here, reminders. So if my screen looks different than yours, don't worry about it. But you can see here, I'm under the current version of WordPress of 6.9. So I don't have to update WordPress. But I do have about 9 plugins here I'm going to update. But before we get to that updating that plugin, I want to point out one thing, and I talked about this in an earlier video. I'm going to go over to the plugins page, and I'm going to find my backup plugin, which usually is at the very bottom because it starts with a U. That's going to be Updraft Plus, and I talked about this in a prior video. I'm going to go under Settings here. Now, I went ahead and did a backup before I started making this video, so you wouldn't have to sit through that working. But basically, if you scroll down, it'll show you your existing backups, and I've got 2 of them, and they're both from today. So what I would want to do now that I've got a backup is if you click on these, they'll download. So I'm going to go ahead and download the first one. That's going to be the database. I'm going to go ahead and now I'm going to download these to my computer, but then you don't want to leave them on your computer either. You also want to put them somewhere safe, like maybe on an external drive, a jump drive, however you back up your data right now. If you have an external drive or something like that, go ahead and download, each one of the files. There's going to be 4 of them. Download each one of the files and then save them, copy them from your computer because these backups are going to download to the download folder on your computer. And once these are done, they'll be on your computer. And I wouldn't say it's pressing that you have to do it right away, but you definitely will need to do something if something happens when we start updating these plugins, or you start updating your plugins. If something breaks, then at least you've got those backups saved somewhere that are not on the server. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and click the next one. Well, see, what it's going to do is going to give me a little section for each download. I'm going to go ahead and click all 4 of them. Okay. And see, that was pretty fast. So now I'm going to go ahead and download them to my computer. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the first one, download it. Click on the second one and download it. And you see it's popping up there. It's downloading the files. And there's the third one. It's going up there and into the downloads folder. And then I got the last one. So at least now, if I do something now and one of these plugins that I update breaks my site for whatever reason, then at least I got those backup files that are current. And you want to make sure you do it right before you update. Otherwise, if let's say you do weekly backups, or you even do a daily backup. If you did a daily backup this morning, but you made some changes today to your site, and now we're going to do the maintenance update, then anything that you did today won't be included in that morning backup. So that's why you want to do it right before you do the backup. This is the safest way, to do a backup and have it ready just in case something happens after we do this, after you do your maintenance updates. So having said that, we've already done that. So I'm going to go back to the update screen up here, to the dashboard. I'm going to click on updates again. It's going to take me back to this main update screen. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to download each one of these individually. So I'm going to go ahead and download this first one. And you'll see, it'll tell me here now on the screen when it's done downloading. Now I've got to go back to the update screen. I'm just going to go to the plugin screen because I know these are all plugins. The plugin screen is going to look a little bit different. That's why I normally do it from the other one, because it shows me only the ones I need to update. This screen is going to show me all my plugins. So I'm going to go back up to the dashboard into the updates page. And then I'm just going to do the next one. This time I'm going to do 2 at a time. Okay, I'm going to update. Now I did forget one thing, and maybe if you saw one of my previous videos, you caught that right away. But these 2 are done. So I'm immediately going to go to the front end to make sure the front end loads fine. All right. And you see the front end is loading fine. And if you want to check further, you can check on some of your menu items to see if all your links are running. All right. So that one's working. I'm going to go back to the back end again. And I'm going to go ahead and go back to the updates page again. Looks like something's going on with my mouse. It's not clicking it right away. It should be loading it. All right, let's try it again. I don't know why. Looks like I'm getting some issues. Now this could be this could be a internet connection issue. Sometimes the internet has, the internet that you have, sometimes they'll have hiccups and sometimes it won't connect. I'm just going to go back and try this again. And see, that time it loaded. So again, you're seeing real time issues that you can face every day. So now I'm going to go ahead and click on Fluent Forms, this add-on pack. This is a premium version that I pay for, but I'm going to go ahead and update that too. All right, so now you see it's updated. I'm going to go back to the front end. Make sure it's still loading. It looks like it's done. Go back to the back end again. I'm going to go back to the updates page. All right. Now I'm going to go ahead and update the next one. All right, so now you see that one's done. Go back to the front end. Still working. Go back to the back end. Go back to the updates page. Okay. We got 4 more to go. So just bear with me. This is how you would normally do it. If you were doing it on your site, you would want to do one plugin at a time. Now, again, I don't advocate this, but if you're confident in these plugins and you don't, usually if you have really good plugins and they're not, if they're premium plugins and they're really popular and they're widely used, you shouldn't have any issues, and it wouldn't hurt you to install, to update more than one at a time. I'm just doing this for this video to show you that this is the best practice to do. So I'm going to go back to the front end, make sure it's still loading. Okay, back to the back end. I'm going back to the updates page. And now I've got 3 left. I'm going to go ahead and click on the next one, update it. Okay, it's done. I'm going to go to the front end. Make sure the front end still loads. It's loading. Go back to the back end. I'm going to go back to the updates page. Okay. Got 2 left. Go ahead and update this one. All right, that one's done. I'm going to go to the front end again. I know it seems like a lot of work, but you want to, the reason I teach it this way, the reason I want you to do it this way is I want you to see that each individual plugin can affect your site. And this is how you find out if something does break, then at least you know it was that plugin that you just installed. So again, so the front site's loaded, the front part of the site is loaded. I'm going to go back to the back end, go back to the updates page. I should only have 1 left. Okay, got 1 left to go. Click on update. That one looks like it's done. I'm going to go back, check, make sure the front end's still loading. I guess my finger's having an issue clicking these links sometimes. All right, so now the front end's fine. I'm going to go back to the back end here. All right, so now that we've done the plugins, it looks like we don't have any more updates to do. I'm going to point out a couple things though. On this update page, when we go back to it, there shouldn't be anything else to update. So it may not, it's not even going to load. Well, I take that back. It is going to load. So you see now it says you have the latest version of WordPress. Now you can reinstall it. I mean, I've done that before. I don't really see any reason to do it unless something's going on with your site. You know, maybe that's an option to reinstall it. But I've never had an issue with that. And hopefully you won't either. It says now your plugins are all up to date. Sometimes there'll be themes. If you have more than 1 theme installed on your WordPress site, then those themes get updated from time to time. Sometimes they'll get updated all at once, and so you'll see 3 or 4 themes, depending on how many you have. So I don't have any themes to update. So that's really pretty much it. There's nothing else to update. But one thing that I mentioned before that we want to do now, and you can do this monthly. I'm going to go ahead and go through it since I talked about it. But I'm going to go back to the front end, and I kind of already did this already, but I'm going to show you. So you want to check your links. And what that means is you want to check your menu items up here. These are all links going to different pages. So all you want to do is you just want to click on them, make sure they all load. I'm just going to go through each one, and you see they're loading pretty fast. Let's see how this looks. All right, just going to scroll down a little bit to the bottom here. Make sure my contact form is loading. It is. So all my links are working. I'm going to click on this main link here, which will take me back to the home page. I'm going to click on that one. Can't seem to find the right spot here for some reason. I think I've got an Apple mouse, and this Apple mouse is very sensitive. So I have to be careful with it. But anyway, that's a separate issue. So now that took us back to the home page. So then I'm going to go back to the back end. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all you have to check. That would be your week. I would call this a weekly maintenance thing. I know I talked about, you should do backups every day. But you should at least do what I just did, what I just showed you, updating the plugins and doing, this is considered maintenance. So you want to do this at least once a week, because again, the software is updated from time to time, especially plugins. Plugins are probably updated more often than the WordPress core itself. But the reason you want to keep these plugins, and I'm sure maybe somebody told you, or maybe you heard somewhere, oh, I don't have to update every version. I can update every 3rd version. Well, that is not true. The reason you want to update these plugins is because the people that make the plugins, they realize there's some weaknesses. They install patches, they install fixes, they fix bugs, all this kind of stuff. That's why it's important that you update once there's an update available. Don't wait till 2 or 3 weeks or wait till, you know, the second or third version comes out, because it could break your site. So, and your site might not be as secure as you want it to be. So make sure that you're looking at this at least once a week. A lot of times I do it on the weekends. I'll do it on a Saturday or Sunday. I'll make sure everything's updated for the coming week. That way, if I need to fix something, I've got the weekend to fix it, right? So a lot of times I'll do it on Saturday. So I have, in case something breaks, I've got 2 days to fix it. I've never had an issue. It's never taken me 2 days to fix something, but you know, you just never know. You have to plan ahead. Okay, well, that's how you update a real live WordPress website. So now you see how to do this on a live website. And if you're thinking, yeah, I'm not going to have time to keep up with that, that's normal. Most business owners shouldn't be doing this themselves, and that's okay. Here's the takeaway. A stable website shouldn't feel like a second job. If WordPress maintenance stresses you out, distracts you, or keeps getting pushed aside, that's the sign it should be taken off your plate. This checklist is exactly what we handle for clients quietly in the background, so their site just works. If you want help, have questions, or want this checklist as a printable, drop a comment below or reach out directly. And if this video helped you, give it a like. This helps YouTube show it to other business owners who need less tech stress and more peace of mind. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.